Hello, I am the Irish guy, and right, let's take a look at what happened in the Premier League Gameweek 9. Oh, and don't worry lads, I just ordered the biggest, fattest shepherd's pie for tomorrow's video. Tune in Tuesday the 23rd of October for 2 forfeits in 1. Amazon ordered shepherd's pie and ice cream on my head for at least 10 minutes. Hooray! Right, let's go. Chelsea 2, Arsenal 2. What is it with these goalkeepers? I'm sorry, but when I saw David Gea left at home for the 2022 World Cup in favour of Spain picking both David Raya and Robert Sanchez, it looked a bit embarrassing. He was a modern-day Manchester United legend, getting left behind to choose 6-month-old Easter bunnies on the couch for goalies from Brentford and Brighton. Now, to be fair, they both upgraded in the summer to become Arsenal and Chelsea #1, while De Gea is probably now applying for part-time jobs at B&Q. Honestly, the guy is probably so bored, he'd probably snatch your hand off for a chance to sell toasters to old biddies with Mr. Husband. Well lads, Raya and Sanchez in nets on Saturday evening were both very shaky. But lads, this was an annoying match because a few weeks ago, I did a YouTube short, check them out by the way, claiming that Cole Palmer had wrecked his entire career. And in my prediction for this game, I said this about Mykhailo Mudryk.
Mykhailo Mudryk will miss an open goal from 5 yards out.
They both scored. First of all, Cole Palmer netting an early penalty, literally grabbing it out of Raheem Sterling's paws. Lads, when Sterling joined Manchester City in a £50 million monster deal at just 20 years of age, Palmer was a 13-year-old boy in the youth team whose mummy probably bought him a Match magazine and an ice cream on his way to training. Somebody who probably had Sterling posters on his wall. And yet here he is, this little Chelsea newbie, grabbing the ball out of his hero's hands. I mean, to be fair, it is kind of fitting that an ugly Stamford Bridge fixture, grudge match between Chelsea and Arsenal, we've actually got someone called Cole scoring against Arsenal. Oh, make no mistake about it, Arsenal fans hate Ashley Cole more than his Geordie ex-wife, and she probably used to have a voodoo doll of him in her sock drawer. So lads, I give Palmer props for pushing his shoulders back and demanding to take this pressure spot kick. But I'm gonna say something weird. Cole, instead of wasting your time trying to force your way into the England squad by being some strange false 10 for Chelsea, I think he should just save himself a decade of frustration and just go and declare for his dad's national team. He could be an absolute superstar for St. Kitts and Nevis. He could be an absolute icon. That island's version of Dwight York. A bloke utterly worshipped on an island in the Caribbean. On international duty, he can have little monkey butlers serving him pina coladas in a hammock. He can be the modern day Captain Jack. Well, without his ex-wife pooing in his bed. With the entire male population of that island literally fighting to the death to sneak a selfie with this bloke. Just something to think about, Palmer. Instead of, you know, begging Gareth Southgate for a call. There's actual players from Darlington, Ramsgate, Ebbsfleet, and Romulus FC in that St. Kitts team. Palmer would be seen as their modern Pele. But then, in the second half of this match, Mudryk scores an absolute world-class 30-yard banger into the top bins before standing there with his arms outstretched like that White Walker bloke from Game of Thrones, just soaking in the adulation. Mudryk has just demonstrated himself to be an absolute star, right? Now, it was a mishit cross. The guy didn't even look at the goal. It was an absolute slice. He literally just failed at his job. I mean, forget celebrating the goal. I'd be too embarrassed to even look my teammates in the eye. It was such a pathetically hit cross. In that moment, he showed the footballing technique of a blind frog. It was a bigger fluke than Taylor Swift's success. I mean, come on. She was probably this close, just winding up, spending her life studying skirts in River Island. So that was a huge slice of fortune. Raya once again looked nervous in goal. At one point, kicking the ball straight to Palmer. Is he scared? Is the looming presence of Aaron Ramsdale sitting on the bench causing his knees to buckle? Because honestly, this man does not exude confidence in goal right now. He looked like a scared little puppy, hiding in the corner of the bathroom, watching John Goodman squatting on the loo. But listen, this game is all about Sanchez. The match was done. The Gunners had looked slow, apathetic. Even their finishing in front of goal. At times, it was like watching football for the blind. It was an absolute off day. It looked like this was 3 points in the bag for Chelsea. And then the goalie passes straight to Declan Rice, 25 yards from goal, who, to be fair, stuck it in the bottom corner to absolutely change the complexion of the match before Leandro Trossard equalised. Lads, does anybody think that Sanchez looks like being a long-term Chelsea #1? To be fair, Chelsea haven't really had one of them since Petr Cech, who they bought nearly 20 years ago. All the other goalies they've had since have just been short-term flings. They're a bit like that weird nephew who can't hold on to a stable girlfriend longer than 4 months. I mean, they usually just walk out and leave when they realise that he doesn't chew his food, often wheeze in the bed, and oh yeah, enjoy starting one-sided food fights with their mum. Sanchez, 2 months ago, was Brighton and Hove Albion's #3 goalie. You don't go from being third choice goalie at Brighton to undisputed Chelsea #1. Absolutely not. It would be a bit like seeing the King of England getting married to one of Mark Goldbridge's flings. Forget about Raya. I think that Aaron Ramsdale should seriously be trying to catch Pochettino's eye. Come on, we all know how horrible it is when goalies are no longer wanted. It's not as simple as finding another top club, like if you're a striker. No, the goalkeeping positions are usually filled. I mean, Joe Hart was Man City and England #1. Pep Guardiola decides he doesn't like him, and then what? I mean, there are half-hearted links to Arsenal and Liverpool, but in the end, he just banished overseas to Torino and then had to settle for lowly West Ham for Ramsdale. Nearly every Premier League club is a settled number one. I think Chelsea is his last chance at a big club. If I was him, I'd be sending Pochettino love letters to his house. Do everything you can. Send his wife flowers. Deliver a chocolate cake to his mansion. Anything and everything, because otherwise, Ramsdale, oh, it's back to Sheffield United. I think Sanchez's spot is vulnerable. I think he's going to be feeling more insecure than Rooney's wife snooping through his Facebook friends. Honestly, Aaron, go get your Chelsea move. Bournemouth 1, Wolves 2. Play the clip.
I'm sorry, but I'm going for a ridiculously comprehensive 3-0 Bournemouth win. I don't want to talk about must-win games before Halloween, but for the sake of the owner's pride, Iriola has to prove him right this weekend. He absolutely has to. And lads, if Wolves somehow win this match, I will eat shepherd's pie out of a public bin.
I hate you, Bournemouth.
I hate you, Lewis Cook. This was a tight game at 1-1. Dominic Solanke and Matthias Cunha had scored, and he decides to get himself brainlessly sent off for an inane headbutt. Oh, well done, well done, well done, you absolute hideous bloke with the brains of a soggy milkshake. Here he became the first Bournemouth player to get sent off since Steve Cook. Oh, well done, Lewis. Yeah, and yes, I realize that screaming at one of the cooks makes me seem like I'm Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, Ramsay screaming at a cook until he's blue in the face. No thanks. Ramsay is a silly surname, by the way, but still, Bournemouth are worrying me. The reason I was forced to eat hideous lasagna out of that public bin was because Neto passed the ball to Philip Billing, who absolutely loses control of the football, allowing Sasa Kalacic to roll in a dramatic winner, and absolutely give Gary O'Neill bragging rights. Oh, this is infuriating, absolutely. Bournemouth are worrying me now. No wins in 9, 3 points from a possible 27. I still have faith in Andoni Iraola to come good. Well, Christ above. Hurry up! Oh, by the way, lads, if you're new here, hit subscribe! Back into the video. Newcastle 4, Crystal Palace 0. Play the clip.
This is clearly going to be another horribly boring, tedious 1-0 home win. I know it is. I'm going to clip this up on Twitter on Monday morning, showing everyone how there wasn't ever any jeopardy in my mind. Hello, Twitter! I can see it. I can see the 1-0 in my mind. I know this is happening tomorrow. I just know it.
Yeah. Last month, I said that Newcastle would play out a hideously boring 0-0 draw with Sheffield United. Instead, they scored 8. I said this would be a grueling, horrible 1-0 slog. Instead, it was a 4-0 win with Newcastle playing like prime Brazil. Like, wow. Absolute wow. Goals from Jacob Murphy, Anthony Gordon, Sean Longstaff, and Callum Wilson sealed the win. But I'm sorry, this Newcastle team is the modern day entertainers since Eddie Howe took the wheel. Newcastle have scored 3 goals or more in 18 games. They have scored 4 goals or more in 12 of those matches. To put it in context, before Howe, Newcastle have scored 4 goals or more in a match 5 times. Over the course of 5 years, one of them was against Rochdale. To think this team were losing 4-0 away at Leicester City just 18 months ago, it's just an absolute madness. And you know what? I want to heap praise on Jacob Murphy. If most Newcastle fans had their way, he'd have been out the door 5 years ago. He was a 12 million flop buy from Norwich. I mean, proof that Mike Ashley letting Rafa Benitez spend his money was about as sensible as giving your toddler your credit card and asking him to buy you lunch. Yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoy eating mashed potato filled with chunks of Lego. Murphy was just some obviously uninspiring championship standard sludge of a winger. He's got the most Irish surname in the world. And yet, do you really think anybody in Galway, Cork, or Roscommon are really losing any morsels of sleep about whether or not he was eligible? No. The man was about as forgettable as any X Factor act. But now, oh, I'm sorry, get him in the Ireland team now. His dad is Irish. I'm sorry, get this guy a cap. He has been absolutely incredible under Howe. I'm sorry, but he has to come back from loan spells at West Brom and Sheffield Wednesday, where he was just chucked out of the way, to be an unwanted reserve team bench warmer, to somehow force his way into house plans. When Newcastle are now one of the richest clubs in the world, lads, he literally started away to AC Milan in the Champions League. When that music came on, he looked like a 12-year-old girl who'd just been given tickets to see Harry Styles. What makes his renaissance even more special is that he is a boyhood Newcastle fan. People like Dan Burn and Sean Longstaff, they're Geordies. They have obvious connections to the area. They came through the academy. They probably knew the coaches. Someone like Byrne, yeah, a return to Newcastle was probably always on the cards. But Murphy, this is a guy who was born in London and grew up in Norwich. He used to travel miles to watch his team. He was there in the crowd, watching them beat PSV Eindhoven in the UEFA Cup back in 2004. The fact this guy has grown up to represent his boyhood team when he has supported them from afar, it is outrageous. Here he was, ripping Crystal Palace to shreds. I can only imagine what he's feeling. I actually met him at Marks & Spencer's a year ago, and I actually pulled a prank on him too, without even any cameras. I literally walked up to him and his missus and said,
Hey, Josh! I was a big fan of you at Cardiff. What are you doing up north?
Yeah. I was pretending I thought he was his twin. Oh, what absolute levels of banter. When am I gonna get my own comedy show? To be fair, he did believe me. because he paused for what felt like over an hour, and then he just said,
I'm Jacob.
yeah, I know you are, Jake, alright? It's a joke. What a guy. Honestly, what a legend. Get in the Ireland team now! Please. Liverpool 2, Everton 0. Play the clip.
Don't get me wrong, Liverpool will win here, but it'll be a narrow 1-0 win. A late Mo Salah penalty. Just an absolutely frustrating watch.
I was so close. I said 1-0 Liverpool win. A late Mo Salah penalty. I was seconds away from going viral. And then, oh no, Salah had to ruin everything by being greedy enough to tap in his second after 97 minutes. I'm sorry, but... Yeah! Do you know how close I was to looking like an absolute genius? This would be my best prediction ever. I was 10 seconds away from probably having to fend off phone calls from the FBI. People would be accusing me of match fixing the game. But lads, this game played out almost exactly how I thought. A tense, scrappy match. Of course, there was another red card. Although I didn't expect it to be Ashley Young. Lads, this is supposed to be an experience. Cool head and nearly 40 years of age. But it's almost karma. This is a man who made a living out of trying to get defenders sent off by diving like a crippled swan. Roy Keane used to call him an absolute disgrace. Yeah, he's since become a defender and now absolutely lost his head. 2 stupid yellow cards to absolutely leave his team in the mud before half time in the most important game of the season. Sean Dyche is a man who's liked Young for a while. He tried to bring him to Burnley 2 years ago, although I would imagine swapping Inter Milan for Burnley just looked too embarrassing to stick on Instagram, so he just chose a Villa return instead. But still, if I'm Dyche, I'm absolutely fuming with Young this morning. But also the referee, because Ibrahim Konate absolutely escaped. He should have been sent off for 2 yellow cards after full-on tripping Beto in the second half, and Klopp knows he was lucky because he immediately subbed him off for Joel Matip. Look, I'm not saying Liverpool didn't deserve to win. They had 26 attempts at goal, while Everton had 1 shot on target all match. But where is the consistency? Konate was so hideously lucky. He probably should have picked the lottery numbers on his Uber ride home. Sheffield United 1, Man United 2. Look, I get that this is Diogo Dalot's trademark celebration, but read the room. When this Portuguese fullback scored the winner, he literally put 2 fingers to his neck, checking the pulse. It's his signature celebration for the rare occasions where he scores. But do you really think it's appropriate to do that celebration when literally the biggest legend in the history of your club had just passed away 2 hours before? The guy who's talked about this goal celebration in the past, he thinks it's funny. Any other day, fine. But, I mean, did he just blank out for the minute silence before the match? Did he not see his club captain bringing roses onto the pitch? Did he not see Sir Bobby Charlton's face on the television screen? I don't know. To me, tasteless. Absolutely tasteless. But listen, I said in my prediction video that Manchester United always make hard work of Sheffield United, and especially at Bramall Lane. And lads, I was right again. This is a ground where Newcastle scored 8 goals a month ago. You're playing against a team who are absolutely paralyzed with fear that they're going to be the worst Premier League team of all time, even worse than Derby County in 2008, and yet you only leave with a 1-goal win again. Manchester United have not actually left Bramall Lane with more than a 1-goal win since 1995. So yeah, Man United made hard work of this. Scott McTominay scuffles in a goal after 28 minutes. Ollie McBurnie dispatches the penalty 6 minutes later, and the game looks like it's petering out to be a damp squib draw before Dalot spanks one in and decides to show all the tact of somebody doing squelch noises with his armpit on an actual funeral. I'll go in for Man United, but what is up with Marcus Rashford? We know that Anthony has all the end product of a fat tuna pie, but Rashford, is this now his thing? Someone who has a brilliant season 1 year and then a powered year the next? In 2021, he finished the season with 21 Man United goals. The following season, he netted a pitiful 5, with many demanding he be sold. Then last season, he exploded again with an actual 30-goal campaign, and now it's back to just 1 goal in 10 matches this season. It reminds me of Eden Hazard. In May 2015, he ended a season with 19 Chelsea goals. A year later, he wound up with 6, and then the following year, back up to 17 goals, then another 17, then 21, and then just 1 goal in his debut year at Real Madrid. How frustrating must this be? Is Rashford just doomed to have another garbage year? He looks completely off the boil. Am I the only one who is noticing these early warning signs? What is it with him? Why is he so hideously inconsistent? But yes, listen, finally, rest in peace, Sir Bobby Charlton. Surely one of the most inspirational figures in the history of the sport. Forget about the accolades for a minute. Forget how he won everything in sport. Forget that he lifted the Ballon d'Or and then finished runner-up 2 years in a row. To me, what I'm most impressed about with this man is the absolute mental fortitude to come back from such a harrowing ordeal in Munich. I mean, we saw a similar thing a few years ago in Brazil with Chapecoense. To have had the mental strength to come back from that, to keep playing football and become the best player in the world, just wow. To win the World Cup after that. To win the Champions League after that. Wow, just well done. Rest in peace, sir. Nottingham Forest 2, Luton Town 2. Oh, Nottingham Forest fans must feel absolutely furious. Chris Wood sticks him 2-0 up against Luton with just 15 minutes left. This was supposed to be a proud day for the Kiwi. Absolutely reveling in the fact that he's now back in the goals. Right now, he's probably sick of his nation's rugby stars stealing all his thunder this month. He wants everyone to remember that he himself is also a New Zealand superstar. I mean, maybe he should start doing the haka before every match. Although, to be fair, considering Wood looks a bit like a ventriloquist dummy, it wouldn't be that intimidating to see him dancing on the spot. He'd probably look a bit like he's just holding in a poo on the train. But lads, I said weeks ago that Ireland superstar Chiduza Bene should be in the Luton team, and here he is slicing in an important goal after 83 minutes after Serge Aurier decided to defend an Andros Townsend free kick, a bit like a headless duck. Honestly, the other levels of car crash defending, all they had to do was just defend a simple delivery, free kick delivery from an average pundit. Because honestly, I would imagine after spending the last month or so being best mates with Jimmy Redknapp on the telly, Townsend probably has started to indulge in pies and biscuits over the last few months. He's probably now got the fitness levels of a fat Pikachu, but he's still chalked up an assist. And then in the final minute, lads, I blasted Elijah Adebayo for an open goal miss against Tottenham last time out. But lads, here he expertly controls the ball on his chest before keeping his head to poke a last minute equalizer past Matt Turner. Fair play Adebayo, a bloke whose full name literally consists of 63 letters. His passport has more letters than Postman Pat. Well done to you, fella. Although Steve Cooper, after watching his much more handsome counterpart punching the air in celebration, again, I guess another night of angrily eating depressing pizza with his dog. I don't know why I assume that man lives alone, but just a hunch. Brentford 3, Burnley 0. Lads, I was close. I said Brentford would beat Burnley 2-0 with Brian and Mbemo scoring both. Not quite. Turned out to be a 3-0 win for Brentford, with Mbemo sharing the goals with Yohan Wissa and Simon Godos with a thunderbolt. Well lads, Neil Maupay must be crushed. This is a French centre forward, someone who a year ago was literally pining for an Argentina call-up, which looks a bit embarrassing now. Imagine a world where Sergio Aguero is in the Argentina dressing room, switching his visitor's lanyard around to make it look like he's got an actual World Cup medal on Instagram. All the while, this Everton flop sheepishly sits in the corner with the real thing around his neck. I think I might have just broke the universe. He hasn't scored a goal in over a year, and here he had several opportunities. He had a goal chalked off. There was a moment where he's through one-on-one with the goalie, and all he had to do was just complete a delicate lob and it's in. But now he instead just scuffs it along the floor like a sturdy groundskeeper kicking away a bunch of daffodils. Man City 2, Brighton 1. Imagine being told 2 years ago that Manchester City would beat Brighton and Hove Albion with Ansu Fati on the score sheet. You would assume that City would have broken the bank, smashed their transfer record, and possibly made a dent in the world record with a £150 million bid for this absolute teen Barca megastar. If I told you instead that Fati would be scoring for Brighton, oh, you'd be so very confused. The only time seeing Fati in a Brighton shirt makes sense is when Dale Stevens' name was on the back. Lads, even a few weeks ago, to me, it would have made more sense seeing Jeremy Doku leaving Rennes for Brighton after consistently showing the end product of soggy sludge in what's supposed to be a farmers league. And yeah, Fati would have been the latest Barca Academy graduate to be getting molded by Guardiola, but no. Instead, this is just a little bit odd. Aston Villa 4, West Ham 1. I said this would be a proper ding-dong of a match, a 5-goal thriller. I was right. Sort of. Villa just ground West Ham at the soggy wet beef. Sorry, David Moyes, but Unai Emery just showed you there are levels to this game. West Ham are Europa League Conference champions right now, right? Now, I'm telling you, Villa are taking their crown in May without a shadow of a doubt. And with that, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. What did you think of this game week? Let me know. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like, share, subscribe. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.